She was a Sunday school teacher.
She was the glue that kept us together.
With a warm heart.
She always had a cherry pie, and that was my favorite.
But who would want Opal Lee Zacharias dead? She was living the American dream, married and running a liquor store with her husband.
Big change, big change. Brings back a lot of memories.
Charles Payton is the nephew she raised like a son.
This was the drive-through?
Now, 30 years later, he wonders why Lance Bedgood, the man police say pulled the trigger, is still on the run.
He took her life, and he's continued on, and it just doesn't seem right.
It was 1987. She was at home with her husband, getting ready for work. He left, leaving the garage door open, and when she came out, 2 men were waiting. Police say she was shot and then run over as one of them raced down the driveway in her car.
So this is where it happened?
This is where it happened. We believe that the vehicle was inside the garage.
Detective Paul Vella with HPD's Cold Case Unit is trying to dig up new leads on the prime suspect, a man with a long criminal history who was out on parole at the time of her murder.
For someone to come in and just take her away from, her husband, kind of hit people in a certain area.
But why did he choose her? Both investigators and the family believe he followed her home from the store because he thought she had money.
She would give anybody anything and not hide it.
But a month before the murder, her sister called, concerned.
She bought things that they brought in to sell, and she really thought she was helping their families. And, I told her, I said, those are not your friends.
You were worried somebody was going to take advantage of her.
I was afraid they were going to kill her.
But it wasn't just the store where she was vulnerable. The family owned a fourplex behind it. They rented out.
What we think happened is someone was living back here who knew that Lance Bedgood. They came and visited, they went to the store, they all saw the jewelry she had on.
But even though that's what may have lured her killer, investigators say he got away with just her car and purse. Both he ditched and disappeared. America's Most Wanted featured the cold case.
Houston, Texas.
And tips came in on possible sightings from Florida and North Carolina to Michigan.
Do you think over the years people have covered for him?
I believe there are people who have covered for him. I believe people are afraid of him.
This is what police believe he may look like now. Lance Bedgood would be 73 years old, with a scar over his right eye and tattoos.
I would really like to see a final answer.
An answer her husband never got. He died years ago without seeing a resolution to the case. It's a mystery that's always haunted this family.
Yeah.
And still decades later, they only want one thing.
That person receives his punishment for taking such a wonderful lady from this earth.